For over 2,000 years, one mystery has haunted archaeologists, historians, and treasure hunters alike. Where is Cleopatra VII buried? The last pharaoh of Egypt vanished from history, and with her, the location of her final resting place. But here's what will blow your mind. Recent discoveries suggest we've been looking in the wrong place this entire time. Before we unveil these incredible secrets, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the ancient mysteries we're about to reveal. Imagine this scene with me. It's August 10th, 30 BC. The great city of Alexandria is under siege. Roman legions commanded by Octavian, soon to become Emperor Augustus, are closing in. Inside her magnificent palace, Cleopatra faces the end of everything she fought for. Her lover Marco Antonio lies dying in her arms. Her kingdom is crumbling. Her children's lives hang in the balance. But even in these final moments, this remarkable woman was planning one last strategic move. A move so clever that it would hide her tomb from her enemies for over 2 millennia. Now here's the mystery that baffled archaeologists for generations. Ancient Roman sources claimed Cleopatra was buried with Marco Antonio somewhere in Alexandria. For centuries, experts assumed their tomb lay beneath the Mediterranean waves, lost forever in the sunken parts of ancient Alexandria. Countless underwater expeditions searched the harbor. Divers explored submerged palaces and temples. Nothing. It was as if Cleopatra had simply vanished into thin air. But what if Rome's greatest enemy outsmarted them one final time? What if the propaganda spread by Octavian was designed to hide the truth? Enter Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican lawyer turned archaeologist who had a revolutionary theory. Martinez believed something that contradicted everything we thought we knew. She proposed that Cleopatra wasn't buried in Alexandria at all, but 30 miles west, in a mysterious temple called Taposiris Magna. Let me take you back in time to understand why this theory makes perfect sense. Cleopatra wasn't just the seductress that Roman propaganda painted her to be. This woman spoke 9 languages. She was the first Ptolemaic ruler in 300 years to learn Egyptian, the language of her subjects. Ancient historian Plutarch himself, despite criticizing her, had to admit the truth. Her real power wasn't her beauty, it was her intellect, her charisma, and her extraordinary gift for conversation. Picture this. A young woman of 18 ascending to the throne of a dying kingdom. Egypt was no longer the mighty empire of the pyramids. It was strangled by Roman influence, bankrupt from bribes paid to Roman generals. Her own father had paid Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great 6,000 talents, an astronomical fortune, just to be recognized as legitimate pharaoh. The Ptolemaic family operated in an atmosphere of violence and betrayal. Cleopatra's father had executed his own eldest daughter. This was the brutal school where young Cleopatra learned politics. What happened next reads like the greatest thriller ever written. When her younger brother Ptolemy XIII and his advisors forced her from the throne, Cleopatra didn't accept defeat. She raised an army and marched back to Egypt. Then came her masterstroke. Julius Caesar had arrived in Alexandria to mediate the civil war, but Ptolemy's guards blocked all palace entrances. So what did Cleopatra do? She had herself wrapped in a large hemp sack or carpet, smuggled past the guards and delivered directly to Caesar's chambers like a piece of merchandise. This wasn't romance, time travelers. This was political genius. Caesar was captivated by her audacity and brilliance. With Roman military support, Cleopatra defeated her brother, who drowned in the Nile River wearing his golden armor. She reclaimed her throne and gave birth to Caesarion, Little Caesar. For the next 17 years, this remarkable woman would seduce not one, but 2 of Rome's most powerful men, not with beauty, but with strategic brilliance. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, Cleopatra needed a new protector. Marco Antonio, now ruling Rome's eastern territories, summoned her to Tarsus. Once again, Cleopatra staged a spectacular entrance. She arrived dressed as the goddess Isis, on a golden ship with purple sails perfumed with exotic scents and silver-tipped oars. Antonio, who identified with the god Dionysus, was mesmerized. Their alliance produced 3 children and gave Cleopatra control over vast territories across the eastern Mediterranean. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Antonio's recognition of Caesarion as Julius Caesar's legitimate heir threatened Octavian's position as Caesar's adopted son and political successor. Octavian launched a massive propaganda war, painting Antonio as poisoned by an exotic foreign witch, claiming he planned to move Rome's capital to Alexandria. This fear that Egypt would become the center of world power gave Octavian the moral justification he needed for war. The decisive naval battle at Actium in 31 BC sealed their fate. After defeat, with Octavian's armies besieging Alexandria, both lovers faced the inevitable end. Antonio, tricked by a false message that Cleopatra had killed herself, fell on his sword. Dying, he was carried to Cleopatra's mausoleum and expired in her arms, a scene worthy of the Greek tragedies they both knew so well. Days later, on August 10th or 12th, 30 BC, Cleopatra ended her own life at age 39. The method remains debated. Some sources say she used a poison she'd personally developed through experiments on prisoners. Others prefer the legend of the asp, the Egyptian cobra. Recent studies suggest the snakebite is unlikely because it causes a long, painful death. Ancient historian Dio Cassius reported her death was peaceful and painless. But here's what's fascinating. The asp legend persisted because of its powerful symbolism. The cobra represented Wadjet, protector goddess of pharaohs. By linking her death to the sacred serpent, Cleopatra ensured she'd be remembered not as a defeated foreign queen, but as an Egyptian deity, an incarnation of Isis returning to the divine realm. Now we reach the most intriguing part of our journey. Octavian granted Cleopatra's dying wish to be buried with Marco Antonio. But then he did 2 crucial things. First, he executed Caesarion, eliminating any challenge to his position as Caesar's sole heir. Second, and this is critical, he actively suppressed all information about the tomb's location. Why? To prevent it from becoming a pilgrimage site, a symbol of defiance against his new imperial order. This is where Kathleen Martinez's groundbreaking work comes in. For over a decade, she's been excavating at Taposiris Magna, a temple dedicated to Isis located 30 miles west of Alexandria. Using ground-penetrating radar technology, her team has confirmed an incredible discovery: a 9-meter-long cavity, perfectly carved beneath the temple entrance. This underground structure would have required colossal effort, appropriate only for someone of supreme importance. Think about it, time travelers. Would Cleopatra, who carefully crafted her image as the goddess Isis throughout her reign, want to be buried in the bustling capital, where Roman soldiers could defile her tomb? Or would she choose a secret ceremonial location, a temple dedicated to her patron goddess, far from prying eyes? Recent discoveries of a submerged port near Taposiris Magna confirm the area's strategic and royal importance, supporting the theory that this was a planned retreat. The challenge now is geology competing with archaeology. The tunnels carved in rock that might lead to the burial chamber are flooded. Martinez's team must drain the water to access the 9-meter cavity detected by ground-penetrating radar. This cavity is the great question mark that could rewrite history's final chapter. What do you think, fellow time travelers? Will modern technology finally break the silence imposed by Emperor Augustus over 2,000 years ago? Will Kathleen Martinez succeed in draining those tunnels and confirming that this ceremonial hiding place is the tomb of Egypt's last queen? Share your theories with us in the comments below. If you want to explore more rigorous historical analysis and discover the secrets the ancient world guarded jealously, subscribe to S Historia. Join our archaeological journey as we continue unlocking ancient mysteries together.